evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite sports icons and athletes. I'm Boom Gonzalez. And in tonight's game plan, former Gilas Women member Bea Daez joins us to break down some bright spots from our national team versus China in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup.
We'll also catch up with members of the Philippine women's football team, Sara Castañeda and Cam Rodriguez, after they qualified for the AFC Women's Asian Cup. And we'll also get the latest from the Games and Amusements Board ahead of their third annual Professional Sports Summit. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Our very own Gilas Women gave a valiant effort last night in their FIBA Women's Asia Cup match against China. Well, one thing's for sure, we saw the hearts of our Pinay ballers on the court, and we are proud of what they have shown us. And tonight, let's break down some of the bright spots that we saw from our national team. Joining us for our discussion is former Gilas Women member Bea Daez. Bea, how are you doing?
Hi, Pao. I'm good. Enjoyed the game last night despite the outcome.
You know that a lot of people have been talking about that. Obviously, a very lopsided defeat against the Philippines, and looking at a lot of people are trying to look for the bright spots. And you've carefully chosen a few good points here. We'll start off with Afril Bernardino because she was something special. Very brave in the face of much taller opposition.
Exactly. Afril, was really just being Afril Bernardino. I mentioned it last time that she has consistently been the top scorer of the Gilas Filipinas women's team, even in the numerous tournaments that she's played in. And last night, she proved it once again, filling in the stat sheet, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 2 assists across her name. She may not be the most vocal player, but she does lead by example. She really makes her game do the talking. And makikita mo din talaga, if she's scoring at will, if she's getting those rebounds, even bringing down the ball on her own, kung teammate ka niya, ikaw mismo mahihiya to not give your best. So that's really how she leads by example. And whether she was playing the power forward position, the guard position, sometimes she was even bringing down the ball, she really tried to give her best to attack the basket relentlessly, create for her teammates. And it was really great to see how, even if going up against the best players of China, she was still able to produce 17 points at the end of the game.
It's something that we expect of her,
Yeah.
in her career, in the years that we've seen her, Bea. Now, we started off well. I mean, relatively. That was our best quarter. The first quarter was the best one. Tapered off, obviously, as we went along. They started pressing, China did, started shooting so well from the outside. They were shooting, I think, 46% from threes, and then their in-and-out basketball was on point. So, bumitaw na, no? But the Philippines, you think, stayed with them in terms of the mentality, in terms of the approach of the game. Bea, how hard is that not to look at the score and concentrate on, play by play, offensively and defensively?
Actually, I think the first battle is the mentality. Just coming into the game, going up against the number 7 team in the world. They were just out of the Olympics. They have 10 holdovers from their Olympic tournament for China. They have an average height of 6'1". We only have an average height of 5'8". So that and alone, it can really bring you down. But what I really appreciate about the Gilas Filipinas women's team is their effort, their never say die mentality, their go hard mentality. At nakita mo din talaga yun because all throughout the game, you see their effort to try and really execute their play kahit hirap na hirap sila against the tall players of China. And that's something that they need to continue because hindi pwedeng magkanya-kanya. The biggest thing that they can get out of the game is to improve each and every game as a team, as 1 unit. And I know that despite the outcome of their first game against China, there's so much more to improve and to bring on to their next games up against Australia tonight.
Yung height na yun, they have a 6'9" player and our tallest, if I'm not mistaken, was 5'8", 5'7".
The average height, They had that Claire Castro again, the only legitimate big that we had on that team. And you mentioned a while ago that there were a few well-executed plays there. A lot of them happening is, of course, in the first quarter. But then, what was the thing that you liked most about yung execution nila when it did pan out?
Yes, really the motion offense of Coach Pat Aquino, that really is his style of play. He wants it very fluid. And in the first quarter, they really showed that they were able to set up their shooters very well, which is really the arsenal of the Gilas Filipinas women's team against a very tall team such as China. And you were able to see that when they were able to set up the likes of Kate Castillo, Riana Balan, and Camille Carin in the first quarter. Pero yun lang, China was able to adjust. If you notice in the second quarter, they were just switching everyone. That's why they had difficulties shooting from the outside. But I guess glimpses of the good execution of those plays really happened in the first quarter.
And hopefully, magtuloy-tuloy yun in the games to come, especially the one tonight. You singled out a few players also to watch, especially the first-timers dito para sa Gilas, Bea.
Yes, exactly. Camille Clarin and also Ella Fajardo. I really commend those two players because kitang-kita mo yung fighting spirit nila. For Camille Clarin, the moment she entered in the first quarter, kitang-kita mo na hindi siya natatakot. Transition offense, she stopped and popped on a three-point shot because she was open. And tama yun. And usually, as a rookie, you'll have rookie jitters, medyo kakabahan ka, you'll be tentative to take that shot, but then she still went for it. Despite the towering centers of China, she went hard to the basket kahit na block siya. You can see na palaban, yung mentality na palaban nandun talaga. As for Ella Fajardo, you could see her frustration in the first 3 quarters, unable to get her game, unable to really attack the basket. But in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, she really had that confidence-boosting last 6 points that she needs for the rest of the tournament. Kasi mahaba pa yung tournament, there are a lot of more games, and I'm sure she was a little bit pressured also coming into the game, but it's good that she was able to score those baskets just for a morale and confidence booster for her.
Yeah, speaking about Ella Fajardo, she did have a quote right after the game saying that, Coach, and I quote, Coach said that we played our hardest. I know for a fact, and I can speak on behalf of the team that we have more to bring. Bea, when she says something like that, obviously that speaks about yung leadership ability niya for someone so new. But then what are the most obvious things that you want the Gilas women to address immediately going up against that matchup against Australia?
As for me, it would really be controlling the controllables. So we do know for a fact that they are going up against Olympic caliber teams, one of the top teams in the world. But one thing that they can improve on is their turnovers. They had 24 turnovers in that game, 8 turnovers in the first quarter alone. I saw a lot of defensive lapses, which turned into a lot of fast break points for China. So there's no excuse for defense. Now you really have to run back down every time the ball switches to the opponent's side. And lastly, for me, would really just be sticking to the game plan of Coach Pat Aquino. Whether you're going up against any team, kahit tambak man yan or dikit, it is important for you to always stick to the game plan and improve as one unit and hindi kanya.
Okay, quick question, Bea, before we let you go. What can Paolo look forward to the game tonight? He's doing the game tonight. And if you're watching the Gilas women's team for the very first time, this is your chance to catch them. What are you expecting from that game against Australia?
Well, you can really expect that the Gilas Filipinas women's basketball team will give its 100% once again. They will be sticking to the game plan of Coach Pat Aquino, hopefully improving each game once again. They'll be going up against a very new Australia team compared to the 2019 FIBA Asia Cup team that they went up against. So I guess they can't count one another. So I guess that's an advantage to both teams also and to also the Gilas Filipinas. So I'm just really excited for them to go out once again and prove to everyone that they are really deserving to be in the FIBA Asia Cup level 1.
Thanks, Bea. I was excited for the game earlier, but right now, grabe, I'm really, really looking forward to it after all of that. Bea, thank you so much, and we hope to hear from you again soon.
Thank you, Pao. Thank you, Boone.
Don't forget to continue supporting our Gilas women who will compete against Australia and Chinese Taipei in Group B of the FIBA Women's Asia Cup Qualifiers. After the break, It's time to catch up with members of the Philippine women's football team, Sara Castañeda and Cam Rodriguez, as their dominant performance in the AFC qualifiers for the Women's Asia Cup. Stay tuned, you're watching the game.
Welcome back to the game. There is nothing in this world like a Filipina giving all her heart for flag and country. I feel like I'm gonna bust out into a song.
Yeah.
For the Philippine women's football team, they've gone all out as they're officially making a comeback in the Asian Football Federation Women's Asian Cup after a statement performance in the qualifiers last week. Now tonight, two members of the squad, Sara Castañeda and Cam Rodriguez, join us here on the game. Ladies, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. Well, first of all, let's quickly ask, I guess, the expectations going there, and then now the results, the outstanding results, and the manner of which you won, especially that first match. And then now when you look back, how does it all feel? Did you meet all the expectations? And what are you looking forward to now?
Yeah, I'll take this one. It was great. Wow. For me, I think peak of all the emotions was after the Nepal game. So that was the first game. And it was a classic come from behind game. And an added layer would be that it was made in more or less extra time, so the last 5 minutes. So when the whistle blew after we scored those 2 goals, dun ko talaga nasabi, wow, we did that.
Yeah.
The Philippine women's national football team did that. So when we entered our second and our last match versus Hong Kong, the mindset then was we need to get the job done, which is to get the next 3 points. So medyo mas chill na at the end of the Hong Kong game, but rewarding nonetheless, and very proud of the team.
I'm getting goosebumps just when she was telling the story about that Nepal match, Paulo.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy kasi grabe talaga. It does not happen often. If that were equivalent in basketball, that's like a buzzer beater happening like twice in like the span of 2 minutes. Pero Sara, looking at this, looking at what happened, it had to speak about yung mentality of the team because it could have easily become frustrated, stop playing your game and try to force things. But that wasn't the case for this particular team. Could you tell us a bit about what you went through mentally during that game against Nepal and even against Hong Kong, having to get that late goal as well?
Yeah, so I think during the game, when we tied, I guess in a way, when we finally got the tie, when we tied, in a way we were also getting a little bit taranta. So there were times where we would just send long balls and everything, but it wasn't really the way that we would be able to win the game. So I guess in a way, like for me, mentally, I had to like calm myself down and just relax. Because like in my head, or like I knew that we could do it. So we just had to relax and eventually, the goal came. So that was good.
Sounds easy, no?
Okay, it sounds easy to just.
Pretty simple.
It's like, okay, let's just relax, all right, you know.
Two goals.
Our nation's just watching
2
us.
goals in extra time. Kaya. Cam, I'm interested to find out, what did you discover about the team in this qualifiers, 1? And number 2, what is the personality of the team? Is it an attacking team after this qualifiers? What did you discover? Are you a defensive team? Other than you seem to be a relaxed team, as you have described?
Yeah, I think Sarah's the chillest among us, so she's an outlier. No, joke lang. I think it's a character of the team not to know what our goals are. Because before we even came into this tournament, we set the goals. We huddled up as a group and discussed, ano ba ang goal natin? So the goal was really 6 points. And I think aside from being a determined team to get our goal, it was also that we show the character na we would not only get the goal but really fight for it, diba? Show them kung ano ba talaga yung laban ng Pilipinas. So, and I think I'm just very proud of the team for being able to do that. And yeah, so what we need to be or develop further is our possessing team. Because we do want to be a possessing team. Whoever has the ball is the one that controls the game, and we would want that. And aside from that, we'd also want to be a finishing team. So we saw in the games, no, marami kaming mga attacks, but medyo nagkulang sa goals. We all personally know that we could have scored more. So that's definitely some points that we would need to work on right now as we head into the Asian Cup.
Yeah, that's true. And Sara, you have a lot of new teammates in this group. Chandra McDaniel, si Ube, and so on and so forth. And can you tell us a bit about yung contribution nila in this particular campaign? We all saw it on the field in those two 90-minute games. But then can you tell us a bit about who they are, how they are within yung team setting ninyo?
Yeah, well, I think, because we were kind of like split into two groups. So yeah, because we were in the States for camp, and majority of the players that were with us during the tournament came from there. So I think they did a good job with adjusting with a very short amount of time for preparation. So yeah, they did well in terms of adjusting to the coach, in terms of how everything was planned out with a limited number of players, staff, everything like that. So I think they all did a good job with adjusting to those different circumstances. And then also for the players from the Philippines, I think the only new player from the Philippines would be Ube, but from all the locals who met up with us, they also did a very good job with continuing with the online trainings and being able to adjust with the new coaching style as well, and being able to like connect with our teammates from the States.
Okay, looking forward to India, Cam. Sara mentioned, training in the U.S. and all of that. Can you tell us, do you know already what's going to happen leading up to India in terms of the preparation? Are you getting new personnel? Is everybody going to be able to train in the U.S. as we hear that California is open to that? Because I know you also got some nice matches in prior to the qualifiers there.
I think the main goal really is to have the whole team train together. So the immediate, I think, option right now is California to do the same setup as we did preparing for the Uzbekistan tournament, right? So we had we did it in a closed camp style wherein we would like eat together, train together, sleep together, and then go against certain teams, which we really needed, especially leading up to this tournament. So I think the details are still to be penciled in, right? And but definitely that's the goal, that's the vision on at least 2 months or as soon as possible, diba, lahat nagte-training na sabay-sabay. So while that in-person training is still siguro to be decided, definitely what will continue is the very familiar Zoom training of strength and conditioning, which will be very helpful.
Well, Sara,
For now.
For now.
We have to settle.
Yes,
we have to settle
for that. Hopefully that will all change. But Sara, your messages to the Philippine football community and the fans that did follow you and supported you there in Uzbekistan, and of course eager for your next journey. Cam, start with you.
Okay, I just want to shout out and say thank you to everyone who followed us. There was some increase in our supporting. So we hope to see all of you continue to support us and pray for our health, our safety, especially during these times. A big shout out also to my teammates. We did it. Our coaches, they're the team behind the team, diba? So also our team manager, our media officers, and our friends actually in PWFA. Thank you so much for supporting us. And for all, to keep updated, just follow us across all our social media platforms. Nag-shoutout na ako. So, Filipinas Women's National Football Team on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you.
Sara?
Me, just thank you to everyone who watched. Hello to my relatives. I haven't seen you guys in a while.
Wow.
And yeah, just continue to support us always.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's just one of the
Para
sacrifices
sa bayan.
sacrifices that you guys are making for the country. And we hope to get new viewers to watch them in the lead up to India. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, Cam. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. When
Thank
we
you, Paolo.
return,
Thank you, Boom.
we'll chat with Games and Amusements Board Chairman Bea Mitra. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to The Game. I'm Paulo De Rosario. As the world of sports continues to recover during the pandemic, the Games and Amusements Board remains its steady partner to ensure the safety and livelihood of all our athletes. Our correspondent Carlo Pamintuan caught up with GAB Chairman Bea Mitra to talk about the board's latest developments and projects ahead of the third annual Pro Sports Summit.
Chairman, again, we thank you for being here with us. And I believe meron po kayong gustong ibalita sa amin na siguradong ikakatuwa ng ating mga professional athletes. Can you share with us yung mga developments na nangyayari sa Games and Amusements Board?
Well, we're very happy that there's going to be a sports summit that will happen for the third time, September 29. And it's going to be held virtually. This is the third professional summit. The first one was All-Star Cast. Kayo, lahat ng mga kaibigan sa media, nandun yung mga professional basketball players, professional football players, Amang Parika, yung mga chess professionals natin. And also, that was before the pandemic. And then meron yung kakaumpisa na ng pandemic. At saka ngayon, over a year na. And we have a host of speakers, that will be sharing their experiences inside the bubble, di ba? Semi-bubble. Yung iba medyo na-delay. Yung iba while inside the bubble, nagkaroon ng challenges. So, the WNBL, NBL, PBA, BISMIN, Philippine Football League, Premier Volleyball League will also be presenting, of course, boxing, di ba? Medyo mahirap. And kahit na nag-resume niya, medyo maraming mga challenges. So, we're looking forward to everybody's participation in the third Professional Sports Summit. We will be learning from them and, of course, hearing from the Department of Health, ASEC Tayag, will explain to us the present situation and what's ahead. And, of course, highlighted dito yung chess na hindi huminto. Kahit na nag-pandemic, tuloy-tuloy at first time lang nag-professional during the time of President Duterte. And of course, ang pinaka-highlight ay yung esports. So maraming esports activities, pinakamaraming licenses na esports and marahil ito na yung legacy ko sa GAB na nag-umpisahan at saka lumaki ang esports during our time.
Chairman, I know that you've been very busy sa pamumuno nyo ng Games and Amusements Board and especially now during the pandemic. Sobrang daming additional challenges, no? How did you lead itong GAB to overcome all of these unique challenges brought about by the pandemic para matulungan pa rin yung ating sports industry?
Now, during the pandemic, it's a unique situation. We have to be able to adapt. We have to be able to reinvent things, no? And luckily, kahit na March 15, nagkaroon last year, June 10 pa lang, nasa IATF na kami asking for the resumption of professional sports because it's livelihood. Nagbibigay ang gobyerno ng pera sa mga nawawalan ng trabaho. Ito, trabaho din ito, di ba? Play for pay nga Fight for pay. So pinayagan naman, basta tama lang daw yung quarantine at saka yung testing ngayon, pati na rin yung vaccination. So we're very happy that we have opened the doors, no? Kahit na medyo may restrictions, magastos, makakalaro pa rin.
Chairman, moving forward, sa nakaraang 2 linggo, inanunsyo ng palasyo na ipapatupad nila ang granular lockdown sa NCR. May effect po ba ito sa professional sports?
Everybody wants the PBA to and the other sports to resume in Metro Manila because almost all the players naman, even if they're from the provinces, they are housed in Manila and their families are in Manila. But everybody understands the situation na mataas ang COVID sa Kamaynilaan. Kaya PBA has resumed in Pampanga, WNBL, NBL in Pampanga, di ba? Yung volleyball, naglaro sa Ilocos. Sa ngayon, gano'n na lang muna. Tayo natin yung paliwanag ng IATF. And we don't want sports to be the super spreader. We want to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Sa kabila po ng pandemya, napansin namin na patuloy po talaga ang sports sa bansa. Ano-ano po ba yung mga kasalukuyang programa ng GAB na pinagtutuunan nyo ng pansin?
Well, sa amin naman kasi, patuloy kaming in touch sa kanila. Doon sa mga pumupunta sa abroad, may laban abroad, may laro abroad, automatic yan. Meron tayong endorsement sa POA, sa DFA, at saka sa mga iba-ibang embassies to get their visas. And pati na rin yung mga consulate natin sa iba-ibang bansa para maalalayan din. Dito sa Games and Amusements Board, all of a sudden, medyo automated bigla eh. Number one, dumating na yung mga computers namin na yung pang esports. Hindi naman kasi regular computers, hindi naman pwede pang esports yan eh. So ngayon, medyo techy na yung mga tiga-GAB, madami ng mga high-end computers na nandito. So mas maganda na yung regulation namin sa esports. Pangalawa, connected na yung mga karerahan dito sa main office namin. We don't have to go to the OTBs or to the tracks. Reported na yung sales nila per race and per day. So mas maganda na rin. Yun na nga, connected and automated na rin. And of course, pinaka-importante sa lahat, outside of the free medicals that the GAB has provided through the DOH sa ating mga fighters, meron na rin tayong sariling hematoma machine natin. This is very important. And we're probably the first in the world, no? Na boxing commission or board na merong sariling hematoma machine. Tayo ang kauna-unahan sa buong mundo na nagkaroon ng free medicals. Tayo na naman po ang kauna-unahan sa buong mundo na boxing commission na may sariling hematoma machine. And maganda to. All fighters will now be subjected to hematoma screening after they fight. Win or lose. At least merong immediate, no? And then pag napansin na may konting problema, takbo na kagad sa ospital. Hindi yung tapos na yung laban mo, hindi mo alam. Hindi ka nang pupunta sa ospital because you don't feel anything. Yung pala, merong delikado. So, this is an additional safety measure that is now put in place. Of course, tinulungan tayo ni Senator Bongo to acquire these hematoma machines. Marami pang iba and excited lang kami na patuloy ang esports at ang chess dahil social distancing sila. So very strong at lalong lumalakas.
And finally, Chairman, you've said how you help yung mga professional athletes na kumukuha ng visa, lumalaban sa iba't ibang bansa. And for Philippine boxing, parang sobrang dami ng magandang nangyayari. No? We have a lot of youngsters now in line to challenge for world champion si Mark Magsayo. Si Mama nga, na-cancel lang yung world title fight. But how happy are you with the current development, syempre sa tulong ng GAB, na nabibigyan ng mas magandang opportunities yung boxers natin abroad?
The Filipino athlete is world-class, especially in sports where there is weight. No? But sabi mo nga, ang daming bago ngayon. Si Mark Magsayo is in line for a world championship fight. So we're very excited. These new youngsters are shaping up to be very good boxers and doon sa mga kabataan na nanonood ngayon, wag naman po kayong masyadong ma-dishearten. Darating din po yung panahon na makaka-ensayo rin kayo at makakalaban din kayo. Kasi nga sa ngayon, only professional sports and national team sports are allowed to resume during the pandemic.
Chairman, as always, it is a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your continued hard work with the Games and Amusement Sport.
That's Carlo Pamintuan with GAB Chairman Baham Mitra. Thank you for joining us. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
I'm Paul Dorsario, and this has been The Game.